Absolutely, by my consumption rate.
Good segue. Welcome back to another episode of What in the World podcast. No guests tonight, everyone, but we are going to just be chilling. We'll probably recap our first few weeks of guests. Chit chat about them, answer any questions you guys may have had that you didn't ask during the time. And then it's just kind of open platform for any questions that you guys have, and if not, we'll just be out here yucking it up like we used to in the old days. But yeah, we're here, we're doing it, and we're chilling tonight. So
I was kind of late to the party. I'm trying to get my mic set up in a way that it doesn't fucking drive me crazy.
It's all good. It's all good. I hope everybody.
We call these episodes a reflection period.
Yeah.
There we go. That's the arm action I need on that mic stand. Because we have done a not a soft transition, kind of a hard transition.
It was a hard transition from covering the depressing ass news every week of doom and gloom and everything's fucking falling apart to now we're just hard right into the kind of out there stuff.
Well, there's only so much I mean, unless you want to be like a Crystal and Sagar, like Breaking Points type podcast, which I really don't want to be because I just don't have the energy.
No, it just became,
or quite honestly, the mental capacity to.
It just became such a it became such a grind trying to keep up with all of it and then have some semblance of an insight every week, and it was just like. And then it was the same shit over and over and over. And you know what? We said enough is enough. And the final pushing point for me was when I had my reading with Emily, and she was like, talk about shit that's just out there. But I was like, say less.
I think it's good. It'll come up naturally.
Yeah, it's not going to be forced this time.
Yeah. And it's been entertaining to me anyway how the conversation with each guest has shifted to kind of like the same kind of centralized place of kind of talking about spirituality and the meaning of life and just like general human condition. And when you have an alien expert on and you have a guy who sells dead people stuff, shout out to Dwayne. Then you have an outdoorsman
It's just
Scott.
the Swiss Army knife of life. That guy was
Swiss
interesting.
Army knife.
Interesting. It was a good talk.
About that.
Yeah.
And then you have Kathy, who had a near-death experience. It's interesting how it all kind of streams back into the same place.
Yeah.
I'm doing great, Ben's mom. Thank you for asking.
Her mother and Nancy, my other mother.
What's your mom's name?
Michelle.
Michelle.
Sorry, Mom. I put it out there, but I know. Sorry if you didn't want that out there, but it is now.
I mean, Beth. Hey, Beth. I can edit that out.
Yeah. I'm glad you've enjoyed the past week's guest, Mom. That's good. It's good to hear. Nancy, hope you're doing well. We're getting more sunshine when it's not still cold out. That's for sure. Speaking of getting more sunshine, I did like take a look at myself in the mirror after the gym the other morning, and I was like, damn, I'm pale. I needed to warm up. I need to get outside to get some sun.
It's fucking March, man. You know,
get the tan going.
It's been rough.
It really has. And I think finally it's still supposed to start warming up a little bit here this week, but we'll go from there.
Like to say before we kind of dive into like the recap and all that, we've had 70 downloads of the podcast over the last 30 days.
Huge. That's great.
You know, from just a little podcast that like once upon a time used to be super stoked about like 3 people watching us to, you know, 70 downloads.
70 downloads the days after going live is pretty sick.
Yeah.
If I had more time on my hands and stuff, I would generate catchier thumbnails for YouTube for after.
Well, I can always edit that too. I've edited, well, the only one I edited was G. Scott Graham when he was like or was that? Yeah, that was him where he was like, if you just do Scott Graham, it'll pop up a lot better. So
yeah, I did that. I went through and I think I changed some of the stuff in the description about the things that he said, but good.
And another little piece before we get too deep into it and I forget, I will be on a podcast called, it's a sobriety podcast. I filmed it a long time ago. Or not filmed it. I guess kind of filmed
Recorded it.
If you want to call it that. Recorded that. I think they just have audio. It is called Clean or Sober is the podcast.
Nice.
And tomorrow they will be dropping their latest episode, which will feature yours truly on it. And it was a really good conversation. It was me and 2 of the hosts and then 2 other guests just kind of talking about sobriety and really vulnerable conversation. My word, I thought my journey into sobriety was kind of rough. I mean, it just shows you people have their stories, man.
True.
And alcohol and drugs can kind of send some people down a path that was, I mean, I didn't have to go broke or, like lose family or, have to go to rehab or anything. There's a lot of people that are struggling out there, and you never know when you encounter somebody on the street just what the fuck that person's going through. So
true. I'm with you, Mom. Hot and humid is better than being cold. I hate being cold.
Yes, hot and humid all day.
I'll take that. Anyway.
So yeah, Clean or Sober. Check it out.
For sure.
It drops tomorrow. Give them a follow. Also on Instagram, Living Over the Influence, or Through the Looking.
No, we lost it.
Through
the Looking Glass. Okay.
Yeah, Through the Looking Glass. And I'll share it on my socials and all that jazz. Anyway,
perfect.
You wanna run through the guests we've had recently?
Yeah, we can for sure. So our first one was
Martin Keller.
Martin Keller, the Space Pen Club author, and he has another book, I think, as well. I don't remember off the top of my head. But he was the guy Alex was very excited about because he the alien dude, all about aliens and the extraterrestrial. So yeah.
And right off right off the bat, Ben says, "Let's talk about these train derailments." And he
Well,
says,
like,
"Train derailments? I thought we were gonna talk about aliens." And internally, I was like, "Oh my god, our first guest, and we're fucking up already."
I was like, so he said that, and I was like, okay,
Oh shit, dude.
it's gonna be one of those.
My heart started beating so fast. I was like, "Oh my god," because we had talked to him for maybe 5 minutes,
Yeah,
and I uh,
and
I was like,
yeah,
"Is he gonna be a dick?" Like, and he was not. He was an awesome Martin. If you're listening to this, if you're still keeping up, you're a fantastic guest. It was just like first guest right off the bat, curveball, fuck.
yeah. I was like, all right. But no, it turned out to be a good podcast. It turned out to be a good episode. Yeah.
And how do I want to put this? Very distinguished in the way of I knew he was like, he had some hands into some of the quote unquote like high level intelligence, like UFO intelligence community.
Yeah.
But he started throwing out some names, and I don't think he was name dropping. I was like, damn, this guy's fucking been around the block. I wish he would have gotten that chance to interview Bob Lazar.
Yeah. Yeah,
LA
that would have been
traffic
cool to have
fucked
that
him.
conversation with him.
Yeah. And it is funny that now, as the dust is settled with all the balloons and shit, it's like, yeah, that was all such a load of shit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I hope that. But like he said with the Aero division, and I follow Jeremy Corbell. He has a new podcast called Weaponized that I listen to, and it's pretty interesting on aliens and stuff. So I think we're just getting one step closer. That would be pretty sick if both of my predictions for 2023 came true.
Imagine.
Banks collapse. All right, that's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're not collapsing, but
at least shutting their doors. A couple of them shut their doors. Got told to close.
There's a big bank run happening, and tomorrow could be a very interesting day.
Mm-hmm.
When the banks open back up tomorrow, if the bank run continues, it could be a very interesting day.
Yeah, they've tried to do with their best. The federal government is to. All right, sounds good, Mom. The federal government's done their best, or is doing their best to try and stop the bank run from happening. By at least number one, telling the American taxpayers that their tax dollars are not going to the banks, and that the banks will be held liable for the bill that they have incurred with their customers, that they'll have to pay, because that one out in California, Silicon Valley Bank, primarily specialized in small businesses and startups. And banks insure the money up to, at least that one insured money up to $250,000. And many of those clients had way more than that in there. But the bank's going to have to pay them back on that.
Well, that's all FDIC money.
Yeah.
Which it cracks me up. It doesn't crack me up. It shouldn't crack me up. But it's like the FDIC says, okay, guys, we're only covering up to $250,000. So make sure if you're going to take money and go try to make money with that money, it's not more than $250,000. And make sure, like, oh, fuck it, we'll do it anyway. Who cares? We're not gonna, we're not gonna go belly up on this. And then they go belly up to the tune of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And then the FDIC is like, well, Biden kind of forced their hand also, like, no, you're gonna cover this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like telling a kid, okay, you can't have more than 3 cookies. If you have more than 3 cookies, you will not have dessert tomorrow night. And then your kid has 5 cookies, and they're like, okay, you can still have dessert tonight. It's like, what the fuck? Why'd you set the cap in the first place?
Yeah.
If you're just going to let them do whatever they wanted, why'd you even set the cap in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
But whatever.
Anyways, yeah, so that'll be interesting. But, my bit of advice, and this is just from a humble podcaster, so this is in no way actual financial advice. Do not take this as actual financial advice. That's my disclaimer, so I don't get sued. Credit unions. Just go to a credit union.
Well, and a result, crypto markets are up after being down for so long.
I need them to go up more.
I need them to go up more too. I don't
Like
need
way
them, but it
more.
would be nice.
Way more. I need to. I just need more. I need more because I jumped $500 in that shit 2 years ago, and it just tanked immediately the next day. Like the next day, it just all hit rock bottom, and I was like, "Fucking cool." And I have not put any more in because of that.
I've got a lot more than 500 in there.
I was also a very poor child at the time.
Well, yeah,
Still am poor, but
that wasn't a flex on you.
No. I'm just saying I would have put more in. I'm glad that I was not in a position where I could have put more in and lost more.
Yeah, no, and I have cashed out at certain points along the way too, so it's not like I'm ass up on this thing. But Bitcoin in the last week has jumped 28.31%.
Huge.
So that's just one of them. But they don't all follow the trend of Bitcoin, but
yeah,
you get what I'm saying. They're all trending in the positive direction.
True. We digress. We're supposed to be talking about our podcast guests.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying those are my two predictions. Banks having some sort of a collapse and crypto on the rise again, almost like the whole fucking FTX thing was a scapegoat so they could buy low and then sell high. I don't know. Who am I? What do I know? And that we're going to get confirmation of aliens. So they're both they're not looking bad right now, brother.
No, not at all.
Yeah, but Martin Keller was cool anyway. And you should buy his book.
Yeah.
Or join his Facebook.
And then yeah. So Martin Keller was very cool, very fun to talk to about the whole aliens topic. And then it was Scott Graham next, right? He was the next one we had on.
He was. And I really had no idea how that interview was going to go.
No, I didn't either, because I looked at his entire list of accolades and stuff, and I was like, where are we going to go with this? And it just went off, and we had a great talk with him just about his life and things he's done and is doing and what he thinks, the human experience is all about.
I liked his answer to my question about, the human experience. What resonated with me anyway was be the guy or girl that somebody would call, when they're in a tough spot or a tough situation. I really like that. Like strive to be that person.
Yeah. Just be reliable and be that person for somebody. That was good. It was a good answer. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Did you see that video that I shared on Facebook yesterday? I rarely share shit on Facebook.
I don't ever open Facebook.
Yeah, probably for good reason. I very rarely do also. But it was one of those like kindness challenge things. Guy asked, he asked this guy and his son it looks like they're in a Walmart. Like, hey, I'm $1 short. I want to buy this Canucks jersey.
Oh, I've seen that. I saw it on TikTok. That's where I saw it.
Yeah. And then so the guy gives him a $5 bill. It's in Canada, so
yeah, and gives him fucking $5 of Monopoly money.
Yeah. And then he's like, no, actually this jersey's for you. And then he gives him $1,000 back. And then the guy starts crying, obviously. And the kid's like, he just got done with his chemo. And then they go to like this Canucks game. I'm like, that is so fucking cool. Like I watched that video, like I'm not exaggerating when I say probably 15 times.
They're cool. I might be too much of a cynic to take any of those serious though. Because every time Michigan State just upset Marquette. God damn it.
Dick. Let's go.
Oh, could upset. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Anyways, before I get derailed by March Madness, I've just seen so many of those where they're like clearly just staged or the guy's just doing it just for clout. So I'm always super wary about those videos when they come across my page.
I've seen 100 of them that I can't stand, and typically I can't stand them either. But this one, you could tell, was like a genuine.
Yeah, he goes around. Like I've seen those guys' videos before, and for the most part, I'm like, oh, okay, so he's not doing it for clout or anything like that. So he seems, it seems legit, which is good. The one of them that I liked, and I think it was a different guy, but he gave this old guy. He was like out front of a Walmart or something. This old veteran. I got to talking for a second. Anyway, he ended up giving him Super Bowl tickets, and it was especially heartwarming because he was a Chiefs fan.
Yes.
So I watched that more so because I was like, yes. But he took the vet to the veteran to friggin' the Super Bowl, and he had a great time. And I was like, all right, that's nice. Like you could clearly tell it wasn't for clout. It was just like he just wanted to do something good for somebody, and I was like, that's sick.
Have you seen the one where the guy takes the old man to Disneyland or Disney World, whatever it is?
Yeah, the dude's like mad old. He's like super old, right?
Yeah.
And he's like in like a walker thing, and they're like actually like friends now, and they go do shit all the time.
Yeah.
That one was heartwarming as fuck.
I cried.
That one was super cool because they're like super good. Like they became good friends. Because the old man didn't really have anybody else, so this guy took him to Disneyland. They did that. I think he took him to a football game. I don't know if it was the Super Bowl. And but he took him to a football game too. All that shit I've seen those. That was cool. They've been doing stuff because the guy didn't have any like family around or whatever, and so this dude just like adopted this old man basically.
When in that Disneyland or world, I don't remember.
They're in California for that one, I think. So
he's like, I never thought I would get to do anything like this again ever for the rest of my life, and the rest of his life is not long.
Yes,
like that's a sad thing to think about. Like you're at that stage of your life, and you just think you're just gonna kind of wither away, and then
here comes this random stranger.
Man. That's fucking cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Need more of that.
More also, being kind to people.
And hi, Kristen. Just
slump. I'm here to derail. It's what you pay me for. It's true. It's true. I pay you in video games together to derail our podcast. 3-point game for Marquette and Michigan State.
Kristen knows one of my
307
that makes me laugh the hardest is it's just like it's literally two kids in a living room, and he's like reenacting one of those like, will you take this or double it and give it to the next guy? And the kid's holding like a shitload. I think it is cookies. He's like trying to balance them, and he's like, do you want these or should I double it and give it to the next person? And it's probably like the kid's brother. He's like, double it and give it to the next person. And the kid just turns out and she's like, God fucking damn it. So funny, dude.
That's hilarious.
The first time I saw it, I think Kristen was legitimately concerned about like my health because I was crying laughing. It was so fucking funny. Oh shit. Anyway.
That's funny. Yeah, so we talked with Scott Graham, and it was an interesting podcast. It was really cool. And then after that, I did give him the nickname, and I swear to God, I better start getting some royalty checks for that one.
No kidding,
Scott. I'll take pennies on the dollar at this point. And then after that, we had Dwayne. And Dwayne is a dude sells dead people stuff, basically. Like he's an antique dude. He has an antique mall up in Chicago, and he sells antiques. And he's just an entrepreneur. Dude, be an entrepreneur from like day one, basically. And he had some good ass stories about some stuff.
I have genuinely loved each one of our guests, but Dwayne loved us so much, and I loved him right back.
It was it was great. It was such a good like conversation just about stuff, really. And you could just tell that like we all like, and I am not using this ironically, which like kind of sucks, but like we all vibed. Like the vibes were immaculate, and
vibes were high.
Just fucking
gotta use that.
Gotta use it, dude.
Vibes are high. Using
the vibes are high. Except that I didn't realize that when I did that, it fucking changed our scene in OBS.
Oh, I can't believe I almost let you skip right past talking about Martin Keller without talking about the fucking fart soundboard when I was asking. Oh, Christ. Christ, dude. Oh my.
Oh, speaking of the soundboard, dude, I totally was like, I forgot the soundboard. Like I forget every time that the soundboard is like hooked up to the number pad and stuff on my keyboard, and I get into muscle memory on my keyboard from work about like, you know, typing stuff out and using my arrow keys to go back and everything like that. And I was trying to do something and I bumped the 0 button on my number pad, which is the right in the middle of Alex asking this like super important question. There he's in the middle of talking to it, and I was just like, Alex was, yeah, blah blah blah, and I was like, fuck.
I'm pretty sure it's around like the 40-minute mark, because I listened to all of them the next day after I post them just to make sure like audio and everything is good.
Yeah.
And I shit you not, once again, crying laughing the next day listening, because I couldn't remember exactly what question it was I asked him when it happened.
I don't either.
And I'm doing dishes listening.
It was some profound ass question too.
And like every question I'm like waiting for, like, I'm like, okay, is this the one? Is this the one? And then it finally happened, and oh my God, doubled over, crying, laughing. Holy shit. That was fantastic. This is why we can't have nice things.
No, not like that went off, and I was like, oops. And Haley was in the chat losing her fucking mind in the chat because of that. And I was like, this guy is never talking to us again after this. He's like, this was super serious. And then here comes me with this fucking random fart noise out of the fucking ether. And he had no idea. No idea where that came from.
What made it almost even funnier was the fact that you're like, oh, sorry.
I'm trying to like stumble over myself to fucking like get it. And basically everybody was just like,
nobody asked.
Oh my God.
Like, damn it, Christ. Dude. And so, yeah, man, just got hit with the fart sound in the middle of a fucking interview. And, you know, it is what it is, dude. You got to keep it light. And we kept it the lightest right there.
He just rolled right through it also. I don't know if he heard it or not. I don't know, but he didn't even stutter. He didn't even take a pause.
No.
Which, applause to that man for just rolling through.
Yeah, he did it. He did well. But yeah. Anyways,
I'll post it on I've been meaning to clip that and post it on our Instagram. It's just I have like life and work and stuff.
Yeah.
But I will make it a point this week to clip that, because I'm pretty sure I know exactly where it's at. It's like the 40-minute mark on that interview with Martin Keller.
But anyway, all that being said, the interview with Dwayne was awesome, and the vibes were high, and we were all like keying off of each other, and it was super cool. And yeah, I would like to go to a bar in Chicago with that guy, and I'd be there for 7 hours.
Oh my God, I loved it.
My bar tab would be so high.
Well, I'd just be sitting there hammering Dr. Pepper Zeros or whatever.
Alex will drive me home, but yeah,
will. I'll drive. You can save money on an Uber.
That was a great podcast. That one was awesome.
Yeah, I was just emailing him today. He sent us a clip of him being on some morning show in Chicago.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, I don't know if you ever checked the What in the World podcast email.
No, I don't even remember if I know the login to that actually.
Oh, I won't tell you on air.
Yeah, don't do that.
But I can give it to you if you would like it.
Yeah, I think I kind of remember what it is.
What? Yeah.
I think I remember the last 5.
You probably remember the last 5 digits, the number digits.
Yeah.
It's not hard to guess. Anyway, no. I'm going to stop before somebody gets into it.
Childish.
Yes. Again, if you know me or Ben at all, it's not hard to guess.
No.
Anyway, yeah. I was just emailing him today, and now Kristen has a fascination with these like Jaguar figurines.
Okay.
That are apparently made in Italy that cost like fucking $1,900 or something crazy like
that's
that.
What you get when you travel Europe.
Yeah, I guess, but they're like all vintage and they're apparently like very valuable. And she's trying to find one
I'll expect to
from
see one when
someone
I get
who
down there in May.
doesn't know what they have. And I was telling her I'm going to email Dwayne and be like, if you come across one of these, will you please let me know? Like, if you can buy it, especially like for a fraction of that cost and
Yeah.
ship it to me, I will pay you like a 10% finder's fee. I need to email him. But yes, it's been nice to keep in contact with some of those guests.
That's cool. Yep. So then after Dwayne, we had Kathy McDaniel, and her near-death experience, and that was another great podcast just to hear from her and her experience and what the afterlife is like. It was pretty eye-opening, actually. It was cool.
That really changed my perspective on the afterlife.
It kind of validated a lot of thoughts I already had, kind of in regards to the afterlife, honestly.
Yeah, yes, 100%.
And one thing I'll say this: one thing that has stuck with me, and it's only been a week, but it's stuck with me, and I find myself thinking about it here and there over the past week. Was she was like, "You don't believe in hell, you're not going. Like it's not a thing." Basically, like if you don't believe that it's a thing, you're not gonna go. And I was like, huh.
Well, I think especially like the religious world gets so caught up sometimes. Like a good example is I was just going to visit a customer the other day, and he's a very religious guy, a very sweet guy. But his perception, he always talks to me about Christ and heaven and hell and he was talking about like when he gets to heaven and how like the streets are gonna be made of gold and like he's gonna need sunglasses and like he's a very kind of old kooky guy. But oftentimes like religious people have this like vision. They want to like conceptualize and to be able to understand what happens after you leave this flesh suit.
Yeah.
And you just you can't it's like trying to teach a cow to speak English. You're never gonna be able to wrap your feeble little minuscule brain around it. You can't conceptualize it. There's no way to really understand it. And when she put it in the version of you create your own hell, it was like a light bulb to me. Like,
yeah, it just like went off.
That makes so much sense. To where once again, if you have someone who is just, she used the Hitler example, and like I told her, that wasn't even really where my brain was going. I'm thinking like death row, like the evilest evil. Like you let that person out, they will go murder a child, like have murdered lots of children, and it was self-admittedly have said, I need to be locked up because if I get let out again, I'm going to murder again.
Yeah.
It's like, for whatever reason, I don't know how that works, but just where that evil comes from, if you create that for yourself while you're here, it would make sense that after you move on, you've created so much of that you can't find that light at the end of the tunnel. You just get stuck there.
Yep.
Which would make perfect fucking sense.
Yep. No, for sure.
It was such a light bulb moment for me. It like you said, it's really stuck with me also. And
yeah, it has for sure. And actually something that I just thought about just now and stuff, you're talking about that, where does that evil come from? And the church will have you believe that it's the devil. But if you do any type of digging, like really into it, the devil himself, it's not evil.
He was an angel.
He's a fallen angel, and then got put in charge of looking over hell, if you believe in that, right? So it's like kind of equating it to, because I just saw a few TikToks. There's this guy that on TikTok that goes into Greek mythology and explaining Greek mythology and stuff, and it's super interesting. It's just I don't know that mythology from different cultures has always fascinated me, but in the same regard as like people kind of lump Hades in there as like this evil dude who's just like evil, but his only job is to look or like watch over the underworld. That's it. Just make sure the underworld runs how it's supposed to. Which I would say is like the same thing that Lucifer does.
And you could call this slander against the Bible. You can call it whatever you want to. But I genuinely think that some of those tropes, like, okay, was there really a Garden of Eden? Like, was there really a Garden of Eden and then Satan appeared to himself as a snake? Like, did that really happen? Or is that just like a neat little trope to be able to explain to people, like, okay, I can't, creator can't explain. Like, once again, our feeble brains would never understand how all of this got started. So, but it would be a neat little trope, a neat little story to say, okay, this is how it happened. This is how it got started. And this is the easiest way to understand it.
Yeah.
Is it exactly what happened? Probably not. I don't know.
But we will never know, maybe.
No, until we pass on until what Kathy was describing. I think we get so wrapped up in some of those details while we're down here trying to figure it out, and you're just never going to be able to figure it out. You're just not going to know. It's just incomprehensible. So it's nice to tell the story about Adam and Eve, and then there probably was a great flood at some point in time. I think the Noah's Ark story is probably fairly true. Now, whether or not that was creator smiting existence or not,
or was
once
it
again, who knows?
Or if you want to tie in some science aspects, the ice age ended and everything melted, so that
correct,
the sea level rose.
Yeah,
and that's what happened.
And there's also a lot of scientific evidence behind the plagues as well. Like the red tide,
not biblically, like it just coincides with the stories in the Bible that happened.
Exactly. Like the whole firstborn child thing, really interesting behind that. There was probably a mold that was growing on the yeast that they were using at the time. And how it worked was the firstborn son in the household always got the biggest portion of food. So it would stand to reason that the firstborn son would have been eating the most contaminated food, and made them sick, which is probably why that happened. And then like the rivers ran red with blood. Well, it probably wasn't blood. It was probably the red tide,
Yeah.
But once again, that screws up the ecosystem.
Yeah. And then like the swarm of locusts. Locusts are a very well-known, well-documented pestilence that comes around throughout the Middle East. Just grasshoppers on steroids that just destroy everything.
Well, and then they would be feeding on the algae that was brought by the red tide. I'm not smart enough. I wasn't prepared to talk about that tonight. But there's a lot of evidence to suggest that that probably happened. That was probably a real thing. Now, once again, was it a coincidence or was it the creator, smiting a population? Who knows? That's up for debate. But like I said with Kathy, I think we're kind of past the point. I don't know. And if you want to believe that when, if you want to take the true atheist stance and say that when we die, it's blank and that you just go to a void of nothingness, I'm not here to convince you one way or another. I just for my brain, it doesn't make sense. I don't think that's what happened.
Yeah. Well, the other thing from her interview that stuck with me was that she validated reincarnation's a thing.
Well, that's the other thing. I think there's a lot of stories that you can point to, well-documented cases of I don't think that can be a coincidence. I don't think a
Right.
kid can
So
come
it's
back.
again, it's wild. Like she validated that, and then there's a whole again with the guy on TikTok that does the delving into the Greek mythology. There's a thing in Greek mythology like with people that are just it's not just the normal like they live their life whatever. Then they go to they weren't bad, so they don't go to like Tartarus or hell. But they just go to it's like paradise but not like super uber like cool paradise. They just chilling out there, and then people that were um heroes or really good people or whatever have the option, so to speak, like there's a river in there that you drink from, and it just basically just wipes your mind, and then you can fucking like run it back if you want to, basically. Like,
Yeah.
so again, all different like religions and mythologies are kind of lining up, just different ways of saying the same thing.
Well, I'll just read one case because there's like 10 cases of this. But again, well, it just lists 10 cases, the 10 best ones or whatever. 10-year-old boy named Ryan from Oklahoma claimed that he was reincarnated as an obscure actor and agent, Marty Martin, in his past life. To everyone's surprise, when Ryan was interrogated by a renowned child psychiatrist, Dr. Jim Tucker, 55 of his details match perfectly with Martin's life. Ryan was born to a Baptist family in Oklahoma, described his amazing previous life as Marty Martin. Everyone knew the detail about his previous life as the agent, blah, blah, blah. Martin, the agent in Ryan's previous life, was born in 1903 and died at 61 in December of 1964. His mother, Cindy, mentioned that Ryan was just 4 when he had nightmares that just wouldn't stop. The imaginations were generally about his heart exploding and most importantly about Hollywood. He talked during those nightmares. The incidents went alarming when the kid once saw a movie named Night After Night and pointed out during the end credits that one was him, the agent. Ryan's family consulted Dr. Tucker, who with difficulties managed to contact Martin's daughter. It was found that 55 details offered by Martin's daughter and Ryan aligned perfectly. These included names of children, the street where he lived, siblings, etc. The most shocking part was that on Martin's public death certificate, his age was written down incorrectly. However, Ryan was aware of the correct one. So this kid is having these dreams saying, I was this agent, and points out his name on these end credits and is able to correctly name the street where he lived, the siblings he had, the names of his kids, down to the fact that his death was wrong on his public death certificate. But Ryan was like, "No, that's not right." And then the more digging they do, they're like, "Oh yeah, actually this kid is right. It was wrong on the death certificate." Like,
that's wild.
how in the hell does that happen?
Yeah.
How in the hell does that happen? Anyway,
I mean, yeah. So, who's to say? You know. Let's see. Remember when Elijah says, so this is Nancy. Remember when Elijah said he drank out of a certain cup in heaven, and then he said there was a certain design on a shield he used to carry? I haven't heard this story. What? Wildly off topic though, but Elijah has an Instagram now and he followed me today.
Oh yeah, he followed me on Instagram too.
Just hilarious. I don't know that.
Remember that?
I've never heard this story, Nancy.
I don't remember it 100%. But I'm gonna guess when Elijah was little, he talked about drinking out of a certain cup in heaven.
That's interesting.
Which is
oh, that was me. Oh, wait, you were the Instagram Nancy.
Oh, maybe that was Nancy. Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna guess Elijah. Yeah, you'll have to tell me about it.
That sounds like a super interesting story.
Well, it's somewhat coincidental also because Elijah was named after Elijah in the Bible, which is Mac and I's favorite, well, one of our favorite characters from the Bible. If you believe the records of the Bible, only a person in human history that never suffered actual death
Actual death just kind of got yeeted away into heaven.
in a chariot of fire. Just taken up to heaven. See you later.
Later, dude.
Deuces.
Deuces. And now he's back as a child in your household.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which
Once
is cool.
again, I think we all start somewhere.
Yeah.
And I, again, don't know how it works. Don't know where it is, how it's happening, what realm, dimension, whatever you want to call it. And I don't think we'll ever understand it. But
No,
I think
but
there's more than this.
For sure. That was a very interesting and enlightening podcast. I enjoyed that one thoroughly.
So did I.
It was a good talk. It was a good talk with her. But yeah, anyway, so that was the rundown of everyone we've had on since just after the beginning of the year. So 4-ish weeks ago. I think we went 4 straight weeks with guests.
And Dwayne has given us a lady that hopefully will be a guest on here soon.
True. And we have a couple more lined up, I think, as well.
Correct. Just working out the details. Sundays aren't convenient for everybody, and then they have to move their schedules around and stuff.
Yeah, it is what it is. But it's
so far.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been good. Great podcasts. And I feel like they've just gotten better and better and better as each guest we've had on.
And our good friend Gay Tony wants to come back on also.
I would love to talk to Gay Tony again.
Me too. I told him I'm hoping that next Sunday we can get that worked out to where he can be a guest on. Because I think he's like adopting a child or something. I don't know.
Huge life events.
He's been really cryptic about it not cryptic, but on his Facebook, he talked about, he posted pictures of like a nursery and talking about how his life is changing. And then just like, I think it was last night, said something about he knows what he's going to name his child or his son or something.
A surrogate that he's having a...
I don't know.
That'll be super interesting.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I want to bring him on and ask him about the experience, if it's foster or if he's adopting or
if
what,
it's a surrogate.
Yeah,
that'll be interesting. I love Gay Tony. And for those of you that are new to this podcast, listening wherever you're listening, that is the name he goes by. That's what he tells people to call him.
I will tell you, the very first time I ever met Tony at a party, I remember like it was yesterday. He walked in, everybody's like, "Gay Tony's here." I'm like, does he know that people call him Gay Tony? They're like, "Yeah, no, that's what his name is. That's what he goes by." I'm like, "Hey, I'm Alex." I'm like, I hear you're Gay Tony. It was like a celebrity walked in, by the way. Like, don't let me downplay that. He walked in and everybody was so happy that he was there.
If you remember him from one of the previous episodes we did a year ago, like celebrity energy for sure.
Yeah, guy's a fucking riot. That story about him and his crossbow. Oh my God. Gets me every fucking time. Some tweaker walking on the street tried to break into his house, tried to attack him basically while he was smoking a cigarette on his front stoop. He runs in, locks the door, runs upstairs. This motherfucker grabs a crossbow and
before even the founding fathers intended, as our ancestors intended, defend your property with a crossbow.
God, what I would give to see that on video played out.
Oh my goodness. If there was like CCTV footage of that, holy shit, I have to get my hands on it.
You want to talk about viral moments?
My gosh.
I love that man.
But yeah, that'll be interesting. Gay Tony's a riot.
Yeah, I think he will be on next Sunday, and then I'll keep working with the other people to line it up. So
love it.
Anyway. Yeah, that was a quick summary. It's been fun, man.
Yeah, it's been real fun. It's been good. I like we've said before, and I've said this, I think, at the end of a couple of our episodes, but I am thoroughly enjoying the direction our podcast is going and the life that it's taken on now. It's more fun.
And
it's more fun now.
It is. It's fun, and I think it's helped us also kind of spread the word,
Mm-hmm.
find people who typically wouldn't have found us otherwise,
Yeah,
because when
because
people go on a
you talk to
podcast.
randoms on the street, and you're like, oh yeah, we talk about the news, and people are like, fuck yeah, dude, we get enough of the news at home or wherever else. We don't need any more of it. And now it's
Exactly.
like, no, we're talking. Now we're like, no, we change. We're talking about this just off the wall, for lack of a better term, just off the wall stuff,
Yep.
and truly embodying the what in the world is going on.
Exactly. We just want to talk to people, hear their story.
Everybody has stories, and they're good. They're
And I
real
will
good.
say again, if you want to be on the podcast, if you know somebody who wants to be on the podcast, you don't even have to have a specific story to talk about, or a specific cool thing.
Bitch.
Um,
Oh, that's not good for the bracket.
I'm guessing Michigan State is pulling ahead.
No, they won, which it'll be.
Oh, they won.
Yeah, they won, which it's fine. It's fine. So now that side doesn't matter. I just need Tennessee to beat whoever they have to play, which it's looking like it's going to be either Farley Dickinson or FAU, one of those two. So Tennessee needs to win that game, and then it'll be fine. My bracket will be fine. Anyways, sorry, sidetracked.
That
I'm doing good this year. All right, my two of my brackets are in first place in our contest, and I need them to stay that way.
I haven't even looked, and I'm not gonna look. The very first one I made had Purdue winning it all, which I don't know why the fuck I took the bait again. Purdue, God, every year,
Not the
man,
Boilermakers, dude.
every year, and I'm always so smart about it. I'm always like, don't fall for the Purdue trap. Don't fall for the Purdue trap, because every year they're supposed to be in the Final Four, and then somebody finds a way to beat them.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, the good thing
Zach
about
Edey
the
he's
tournament
so
this year,
big, and he's
Yeah.
tall, and he's good, and yeah.
Now the good thing about the tournament this year is there's no really one standout team. It's anybody's game, and I love it.
It's been a bloodbath, dude.
Oh God,
It's been a bloodbath.
if I had actually trusted the coin flip on my coin flip bracket instead of like flipping the coin and going, no shot, coin flip, there's no way. If I'd actually trusted it and let it rock, that bracket probably would be in first place, because that bracket picked upset after upset after upset.
I did one, probably, I haven't looked at it, but probably the one that's doing the best so far is every year I do a mascot fight one, to where if the two mascots got in a fight,
who would win?
Who would win? But it's tough because the Boilermakers, that's a train.
It's a freaking train, yeah. Like, how do you bet against a train?
Yeah. But you look at like USC versus the Trojans versus the Spartans, and I was like, there was a war. There's a Trojan war fought between them.
Basically, yeah.
Trojan horse.
Mm-hmm.
They got duped. There's
Not
a whole
this
bunch
time.
of grease inside of that. No. Anyway. Yeah, that one's probably doing the best. And your boys took down Kansas,
which was huge. Such a nail biter of a game. We were down 12 going into halftime. I was like, oh God, here it comes, man. The inexperience and the youngness of the team, and we're not meshing well. And then somebody said something at halftime.
I thought it was wrapped up.
Devo, yeah, so did I. And then Devo Davis came out and dropped 21.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's go.
And Texas found a way to make, God, my hands were shaking so hard last night. I was so nervous.
I had that one on in the background while I was like fucking around on my phone and stuff. And it got interesting there for a little while.
Well, we went down 3 points with 5 minutes left after having the lead all game. And I was like, no.
I was like, this is an Arkansas game all over again. Here it comes, baby.
Cannot be happening. And then Dylan Dessou was just like, I'm going to put the team on my back. And he broke Kevin Durant's record, actually, from most field goals made from the field. So it's cool to watch. They always say, if you're going to win and go deep in March, you should win one game that you really weren't supposed to win.
Mm-hmm.
And that was our game, because we shot atrocious.
And that's how Arkansas was too. That was our game we weren't supposed to win, and we found a way.
we are not a feed the big man inside type. I mean, we can score from inside, but typically how we score inside is by keeping them honest on the 3-point line with like Marcus Carr and Jabari Rice, Sir Jabari. His name is Sir Jabari.
That's wild.
Like, that's either the coolest name or the dumbest name. But hey,
time will tell. Jury's still out.
I mean, people have to call you Sir Jabari. It's
Yeah.
like you're like a prince almost. Anyway, so now we have Xavier. Now, who do you guys have next?
We have the winner of UConn and St. Mary's.
Ooh.
So,
UConn looks feisty.
I know. So, Arkansas is we're in the paint team. We don't really have a 3-point shooter. Jordan Walsh can shoot, and he showed it last night. He made some clutch threes when we needed them. There was one he should have taken the open shot and then second guessed himself and tried to drive and it threw up a junk shot that sucked. But, but yeah. So yeah, we have the winner of UConn and St. Mary's, and right now with 6 minutes left in that game, UConn is beating the brakes off of St. Mary's.
Yeah, I kind of figured that would happen.
So it'll be Arkansas and UConn more than likely, which will be another good game. I really want us to beat UConn because I need the Zags to beat TCU, and then by some luck of the draw, they beat UCLA as well, because then it'll be Arkansas and the Zags on a rematch, which we ended up beating the Zags. I think we lost to the Zags last year in the Elite Eight.
Yeah,
because the Zags ended up going to the Final Four. But yeah, so if we get to the Arkansas Gonzaga rematch, it'll be Arkansas in the Final Four for the first time since we won our championship back in '94.
It's been 15 years since Texas has been in the Sweet 16.
Damn.
15 years.
So
heartbreak, dude.
Arkansas goes to the Elite Eight after the 23rd, so a few days from now. So if we go to the Elite Eight, that's our third straight Elite Eight appearance over our past 3 seasons, which will be huge.
Nice.
Need to find a way to get to the Final Four, which would be amazing.
Dude, I'm literally about to piss my pants right now.
Go on.
Let me go run to the bathroom quick.
Go on. While Alex goes and does that, does anybody, we got any questions in the chat about anything? Whether it be our past guests, stuff that's going on right now, whatever. I know the sports talk gets kind of loses some people here and there, but Alex and I are big sports guys, so it's inevitable that while our podcast goes on, that at some point, if it's just the boys talking, there's gonna be some talk of sports. And for our core group of dudes out of Brussels, I know this basketball talk, at least for college hoops, is probably well out of y'all's wheelhouse, but let us know in the comments what your picks are. If you guys even pay attention, I'm curious. I want to know. Let us know down below in the comments what your thoughts are on that. Or if you just want us to quit talking sports. Probably not going to happen, but we'll take the feedback for sure. But anyway, yeah, it's inevitable that if it's just Alex and I on the podcast, we're going to talk sports at some point.
Yes. I'm not exactly sure what you said, but
I was just talking that.
Other than if we're definitely going to talk sports.
Definitely going to talk sports a little bit for sure.
Especially during March Madness.
100%. Especially if there's big games where our teams are involved. It's going to happen.
Yeah. And like I said, it's been so many years of heartbreak watching Texas lose in the first or the second round. It's been so bad. Watching Rodney Terry, too, after all the shit that our coaching staff has been through this year with Chris Beard. Which, by the way, I don't exactly understand how Ole Miss just gets away with hiring Chris Beard.
Yeah, I don't know. After all the shit that came out with him at the beginning of the year,
it's like, could we have just rehired him then?
Yeah, like, did you have to get rid of him?
There's no way. there would have been protests in the streets. Like I
it's the same.
completely
It's the
understand.
same, almost the same like situation when Arkansas had Bobby Petrino as our football coach. He had his whole scandal, and everybody was like, "Fucking get him out of here, dude!" On morality basis, we were a top 5 team at that point. If Petrino had stayed, we were probably going to the Natty at some point.
Yeah.
But morality, as it should have, won the day, and we got rid of him. And now Petrino's on his comeback story.
That was the
Turned
whole
a new leaf.
Hughes motorcycle accident.
Had a motorcycle accident
right?
with his mistress, which okay, that's that's definitely a like piece of shit human thing to do. But the cherry on top of that cake was that he misappropriated school funds to give her a job at the school. There was a made up job for her to be part of the staff so he could keep his little tryst going. That all came to light after the motorcycle incident. Which that picture still floats around social media. The Barstool accounts during football season, which now we all have a good laugh about it. But yeah.
You want to talk about an unfortunate motorcycle accident? Holy shit. I mean, deservedly so. I mean,
karma came knocking.
You go weave in those webs. At some point in time, you're going to get caught up in it. You know, it's the universe has a funny way of making sure that shit doesn't go unpunished.
Yeah, the spider bit hard on that one.
Yeah, they did. And now he's on his comeback story.
He's on his comeback story. Was it Southern Miss? Was it Southern Miss or Missouri State? I think it was Mo State, actually, because we almost lost to Mo State.
Yeah.
And then he just recently got hired somewhere out west. I want to say some Texas school, maybe. He went from being a head coach at Southern Missouri or Missouri Southern to he's not a head coach. He might be a head coach or he's coaching something else for more money out somewhere else. I don't know where he's at right now.
Bobby Petrino, right?
Yeah.
Is he at A&M?
Did he go down to A&M as like an OC?
Yes, he's the offensive coordinator for A&M.
I knew it was something like that. I figured he came back to the SEC, and that was a Texas school. Yeah, he's an OC at A&M. That'll be interesting.
A&M.
That'll be interesting come next year, dude. Yeah, what a garbage ass cult school.
Speaking of March Madness, I was so glad when they lost in the first round because they cried.
Oh my god, they cried so hard that they got a 7 seed. We're like, oh, 7 seed, so disrespectful. I can't believe they would do this to us. Blah blah blah. We're so much better than that. Yada yada. I'll see ya.
Penn State fucking routed them.
Dude, Penn State's got a good team.
I thought it was set up perfectly for a Texas versus Texas A&M second round matchup, and I was going to be super nervous because I was going to have to hear all about it if Texas A&M found a way to beat us. And nope, they got their shit waxed.
I'm always happy when A&M loses. Always.
Yes.
Garbage ass.
And then we found a way to bounce Penn State. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, that's it. But yeah, Chet, you guys have any questions for us? Anything on your mind? Stuff you want to hear our take on? Stuff you just want to chit chat about? I mean, we've been going about an hour, but so we got time. But
we do, and I think we're having Chipotle for dinner tonight.
Ooh, nice.
The boy is starving. So
actually, I ate before I got on, so it was good. But
did a nice little. Nancy got me a at-home like portable sauna thing for Christmas, and I love that thing, dude. Had a nice little sauna session before. Like, it's a perfect spot to meditate.
Oh, for sure.
Spot to meditate. Do a nice little like 20-minute guided meditation in the sauna. Like, get to feeling good. Hop in the shower real quick. But I did not. We always eat after the podcast. And Kristen decided she wanted Chipotle, which is fantastic for me.
It works well.
I fucking love Chipotle.
Chipotle smacks.
And I do promise I will have that clip, because that clip needs to exist on our Instagram page of the fart.
Oh, that clip's so wild.
Sound bar. Is that the word that I'm looking for?
It's my soundboard.
Yes, soundboard. With Martin Keller, because that was fucking fantastic.
Hilarious.
And then maybe, I hope Gay Tony will be on next week, and then so that one friend of his can listen and call us racist right wingers again.
Oh no.
I
forgot about
I hadn't
that.
thought about that in a long time. That was fun times. Fun times.
I think I blocked that out of my memory because I am having a hard time remembering what exactly happened with that.
Well, we were asking Tony about his experience as a gay man, a gay black man, and he was talking about how a lot of black people had kind of rejected him as like, that's not a
Yeah,
part
that's
of the
not
culture.
Yeah.
And talking about how a lot of white people actually accepted him, which again, it doesn't matter, like white, black, whatever. The guy's telling his story.
That's his experience. Yeah.
He's a black man telling his story. Like, we didn't prompt him to say that, but then that guy said like our eyes lit up when he was saying how the black community rejected him.
Oh, now I remember. He
saw
totally read that wrong. We lit up because we were like, "Oh shit, for real?"
Yeah, I was surprised to hear him say that.
Yeah, it was surprising that his own community rejected him. We were like, "Oh damn!" And that dude took that the wrong way and fucking ran with it.
Yeah.
Now I remember it. Yep.
You gotta love some of those people,
Just looking for anything to try, and I was like, what the heck, dude? I remember that.
And if that guy listens to the next podcast and he wants to be a guest, come on.
I'll send you the link, dude.
Oh, yeah, anyway, I'm just remembering things about guests that I have lined up, but I don't want to put the cart before the horse if things don't work out. So
fair. Alrighty. Well, guys, if y'all don't have anything else for us, we'll call it another successful podcast Sunday. And we'll go from there. Thanks again, as always, for tuning in and listening to us ramble on, especially on these days when we don't have guests and we just sit here and just kind of shoot the shit.
Well, we will keep these worked in though, because I do think it's important to have some weeks where we can
for sure
recap.
I like being able to recap and talk about stuff that we've had on the podcast and talked about before, and a little bit more of a space for us to get our thoughts out that maybe we didn't get to during an interview.
I love listening to the podcast after we record it, and I hate it all at the same time because I'm like, damn it, like, why didn't I expand on that? Or, like, why didn't I hit on that more? It's like I just brushed right over it. And so there's definitely things that I want to, again, just really bring home for those of you that listen frequently, because if it's important to me, it might be important to you, and I don't just want to gloss over it. Or if it's important to Ben, it might be important to you.
Right. So. For sure. But yeah, with that, we'll call her a night tonight. Hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week. If you do have a bracket in this March Madness, I wish you all the luck with your bracket. And yeah, just have a great week, and we'll see you back here next week, same place, same time. Hopefully it works out and we can talk to Gay Tony again, because I love that guy. And as always,
make sure you tell somebody you love them and hook them horns. Go horns.
Woo pig, baby. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.
Love you guys.